Are you working with your kid on learning how to read? We have some great options from Usborne Books More, so I'm going to walk you through a bunch. The first I'm going to show you is My First Reading Library. This is a set of 50 books, all geared toward working in order. And by the end of the 50 books, your child is going to know how to read. Now, I'm not saying it's automatic. You're going to have to work on these books. But to show you what number one looks like, you start out with shared reading. So you're going to be reading the smaller print, and your child's going to be reading the larger print all throughout the book. That's a better example of it. At the end, your child's going to have some puzzles they can work on. So choose the right word to finish each picture. And then can you sort these words into two groups of rhymes? So things like that throughout all 50 of the books. There's also some guidance for you as the parent. And in this first book, there's only 8 letters in the words that they are learning how to read. And they're usually the first 8 letters that kids usually learn to recognize and read when they're at school. And then by the end, there's 2 levels that they work through. You can see the illustrations, and they will be reading these books independently. The thing I love is that these are still really fun as read-alouds, even if they're not reading on their own. But once they are, you can move up to our Read with Usborne series, which are leveled 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 is for your newest readers. 2, you're moving into developing readers. This is an example of number 2. You can see there's a lot of bright illustrations, large font. These are really fun stories. I honestly love this as a read-aloud. It's my, I love it as a Princess and the Pea, this princess more adventurous, and she and the prince bond, you know, on their own. It's not just because she can magically feel a pea. Number 3 is for confident readers. Here's an example of The Little Mermaid. Again, you can see there's a little bit more text on the page. I do want to let you know that this is not the Disney version. It is the Hans Christian Andersen version. So it's slightly different ending. Here's an example of number 4. And I love that we have Alice in Wonderland. There's a ton in these Read with Usborne. There's some nonfiction options, there's reading options, but you can see there's still a lot of illustrations, but more text. It really feels like a chapter book. And the most wonderful thing about these Read with Usborne books is they are all just $3.99. So you get a great bang for your buck. You can stock up on a lot of these while you're at home to help your kid work on their reading. Other great options are our phonics books. If I can hold them upside down. Axolotl finds a bottle, unicorns in uniforms, mole in a hole. There are so many in this series, and as you can probably tell, based on the silly titles, they have silly rhyming text as well. These are going to make your kids laugh. They're going to enjoy reading these, and it's going to make reading a whole lot more fun. And as with the other learning to read books, there's a section for you to figure out how best to use these phonics readers for your child. Maybe your kids can read and they just don't seem to be wanting to let go of their picture books, which, by the way, nothing wrong with that. Let them read what they're enjoying how to read. That's my side rant. But these illustrated books, they don't have chapters, but they are gorgeous, a lot more text. They're about maybe a 2nd grade reading level, but they're going to be really, really fun for your reader to read. So here's The Missing Bookshop, which is about a bookshop that closes and the girl wants to find out why because she loves that bookshop. Climbers, where a girl has to hide her bear that comes into the village and scares everyone. It's kind of an interesting story. There's also a little rabbit surprise and 2 sides that you can find on the website. If they're feeling into chapter books, Billy B. Brown and Hey Jack are our early chapter books. I want to give you an idea of the text and illustration ratio. There are illustrations, they're black and white, they're not in color, and in both series, they're related. So Jack and Billy are best friends, and they have adventures in their neighborhood and in their homes. So if your kid likes one of the series, they're gonna like the other. My daughter loves both the Hey Jack and Billy B. Browns. On every page, there's not gonna be more than 50 words, and none of them are gonna be hyphenated. The author wrote these with children with dyslexia in mind. So these are really great. Next level up is Billy and the Mini Monsters, no relation to Billy B. Brown. You can see it's a really colorful book. In this one, the boy's afraid of the dark, and then he finds these little mini monsters in his sock drawer. There's yucky and ooze and some fart jokes. Really, really funny. This series does not need to be read in order, but you do want to get the Monsters in the Dark one first because it's the one that introduces all the monsters, but after that, you can just play around in this series. Super fun. The last one I'm going to show you for chapter books and earlier chapter books is Olivia's Secret Scribbles. My new best friend is the first one, and you can see here too there are a bunch of little drawings. This is Olivia's diary, and she talks about school. And it makes reading really fun and personal, like thinking about how you can write your day-to-day life in your journal. And she's missing her best friend that moved away in this one. I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some ideas on some books for your kids learning how to read and your early readers.